Oh, man. Don't know.
Please. Hey, Rachel, please point the camera.
Oh,
okay.
There's just
am I in focus? Is this good?
Yeah,
Is this
but
good?
there's
Like
just...
right here? I feel like it's kind of a flat wall that we're filming against.
Oh,
I know it would be
God.
better to have like a corner for geometry, but I feel like that's going to be a good one.
The only corner there is over there, and there's like a group of people over there that may eat us.
If you're going to offer problems, you need to follow with solutions.
God.
It's fine. So, okay. Is there anything in my teeth? Is my part right? Because last time we did it, my part was not right, and I was very upset.
Oh, well, I mean, okay. I guess I could use a little work.
Excuse me, sir, we're trying to do a news piece here. Don't worry about him.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess do that.
Don't lick your hand and touch my hair. You're not my mother.
Okay, the light over here is a little bit better, so if you want to stand here, also you're less likely to die, so.
Well, we're all gonna die.
I mean, like, imminently.
Yeah, that's what I mean too.
Oh, God.
This podcast is about why horror scares us. What deep, dark, secret, scary cinema shines a light on. The discussions are frank and involve conversations about abuse, trauma, and mental health. There are also spoilers, so keep that in mind too. Now, sharpen your machetes and straight razors, because this is Cutting Deep into Horror.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cutting Deep into Horror. I'm, of course, your host, Henrique Couto, here with my co-host, Rachael Redolfi. Rachel, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. You almost said, how are you, didn't you?
Almost.
Yeah, I caught that one.
Yeah. But I stopped myself.
That's good.
I didn't have a case of,
Have you ever been at like the movie theater or something and somebody says like, enjoy the movie and you go, you too? And then you're like, oh, why do I live?
At a restaurant when they're like, enjoy your order. And you're
enjoy
like,
your dinner. You too.
Oh, God. Guess I'll have to skip town.
Yeah, now I've gotta leave forever.
Yes, many times.
Yeah, well, good, I guess. Well, tonight we're talking about a horror film that I have been a huge fan of for quite a while. From 2007. It's yet another found footage movie. We've been kind of on a tear with found footage movies. So it's 2007's Rec, but that's spelled R-E-C, like record. And this has caused a lot of problems. I loved that movie. And one time I was talking to a friend of mine about horror movies we liked and found footage movies. And he kept talking about Rec. And I had no idea he was talking about, because I had, watched the movie and you only read the title. So he would say like, yeah, like Rec, because Rec was really good. And I'm like, I haven't seen that one. And he was like, oh yeah, it's a zombie movie and they're in Spain. And I was like, record. He was like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. So, but it is available to watch totally free with ads on Tubi TV. And if you haven't seen this one, it's a quick jaunt. It's short runtime. It's under 80 minutes long. It's 78 minutes and it zooms by. Mm-hmm. It is really fun, really aggressive, great scares. And I've always loved this one. So I'm pumped that I got to show it to you and to talk about it a little bit today. And, but before we do that, I understand you wanted to talk about Geek Out because it's coming right up. And is it the next weekend or the following?
Geek Out is next weekend. It is June 11th through 14th. And it is in College Corner. This is the one thing that I didn't have pulled up. It's in College Corner, and there it is, at 8501 Camden College Corner Road. It's just outside of like Oxford area. And it's real cool, a music festival / geek festival. They've got all sorts of musical artists. They have a LARP trail. They're going to have a board game room and a video game room, so you can like participate in different competitions they've got going on. They've got a cosplay competition going on all weekend. So yeah, June 11th through 14th.
You went to all that trouble to give a street address that no one's going to remember, but didn't give the address everybody needs. The web address.
The web address.
That's where they can find all of the information.
Thank you. If you go out to geekoutfestival.com, then you can find the tickets and you can find out all the information. And
did you mention you will be there?
I will be there. That's what we led with. Is that next weekend I'm going to be there.
I just said next weekend was when the event was. I don't think I said it was that you were going to be there. So I just want to make sure it was very clear that there's a reason to check it out if you happen to be in the Southern Ohio or Southern Indiana or Northern Kentucky sort of area. You might want to check out Geek Out. It definitely is a really fun time. It is like a little bit Burning Man, a little bit Star Trek convention.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings convention more so. Not quite as cool as a Star Trek convention, but yeah. And you said geekoutfestival.com?
Geekoutfestival.com. .com.
So I often forget that other people, it's not as easy to do plugs for them for whatever reason. I maybe it's from my professional wrestling training, but I'm like, give me 3 bullet points about this event. All right, I got it. Leave me alone.
I definitely think that it's the carny salesman in you.
Well, I mean, in pro wrestling, I mean, when we were taught to cut promos, which is the interviews you do on the microphone, I mean, promos are literally just telling people where to go and what time the show starts and when. And then the rest is whatever you're talking about, so-and-so thought they got the best of us, but they did not. And Saturday, June 4th, at the Coliseum outside of Kent, Ohio, we're going to take you down. Stuff like that. It was that was always, you had to say where it was, when it was. You didn't always have to say the bell time. Usually they would leave that to the actual promotion. But yeah, telling people where to go and when was always really important. So yeah, you just kind of become second nature to some extent. But speaking of nature, rec is not necessarily that much of a nature kind of thing.
No.
Or maybe I'm wrong, but but it's interesting too, because when we talked about Paranormal Activity last week, right? Was that what we did last week? And when I brought up rec was done the year before.
Yeah.
So it wasn't quite smack dab in the middle of like a big paranormal, or not paranormal, but big found footage trend. The trend wasn't really going very hard yet. And these filmmakers, Jaume Balagueró and Paco Plaza, who directed it, was a directing team. When they put the film together, it was probably more out of budget necessity. Although rec, at least reportedly, had a sizable budget.
Really?
The claim on Wikipedia, which is weird because it says top 10 lowest budget horror movies of all time, but they're claiming $2 million. That wouldn't make it anywhere near the lowest budget horror movie of all time. Yeah, thanks for nothing, Forbes. I can't imagine it would cost $2 million, to be completely frank. But so because they're claiming that that's the source of that number, or maybe that's rec, the best zombie film, a found footage, $2 million budget masterpiece. Why would they say that? They literally talk about movies with way lower budgets throughout the entire piece. Maybe it did cost $2 million. I doubt it, but it could have. But its box office is what's impressive. It did $32.5 million at the box office, mostly in Europe. And that's just not that common.
Yeah.
For a film, a small European film to make that kind of box office money is pretty unheard of. It's very similar to what happened with One Cut of the Dead, although that was reported as much, much, much cheaper, but it made stupid money at the box office just in Japan alone. And Japan's not the biggest country in the world, and it's actually a relatively small island. So yeah, so I mean, it hit, and it hit hard, and became, kind of synonymous with kind of, if like in the know found footage movies. I mean, the box set I have, because it spawned 3 sequels, so there's 4 rec movies, and that box set was put out by Shout Factory Scream Factory, which is one of the bigger distributors of horror movies. So it definitely has fans
out there. No, that's pretty amazing that Shout Factory put it out. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense, though, considering that they are like one of the big guys.
Yeah, I mean, they've put out a lot of, hundreds and probably thousands of horror movies by now.
Yeah.
But they handled the box set, and it's a great box set. So I'm proud to have it in my collection. I hadn't even opened it. I mean, I bought it because to be completely honest, I don't know if I've seen Rec 4. I think I had not seen that one, but I love 2 and 3. They were really good, so I snapped it up right away.
Yeah, and you told me as we were watching Rec that it's got sequels, and you really feel that the sequels are very strong.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of like hit or miss with horror sequels. You can never really judge what you're going to get. Generally, it's a good time, but that doesn't mean that you're always getting like the same caliber as the first movie. So I'm very curious to try and check out the sequels eventually because I really enjoyed this one.
At least you try when I just said I own them. It's not like it's going to be hard to get them. But some of you out there listening may be familiar with the big budget American remake of Rec that came out in 2008. So, wow, really soon after. About a year later.
Yeah, that is fast.
$12 million remake, which did $41 million at the box office. So it was a modest hit. It was called Quarantine. And it starred Jennifer Carpenter, who at that time was hot on the success of the TV series Dexter, because she played Deborah Morgan, Dexter's sister on the show. And Quarantine was pretty good. And I liked Quarantine. It had its own sequel, Quarantine 2 Terminal, which I liked that one as well. It wasn't bad, but I think that first Rec movie really stands out in particular because it has a rawness and a simplicity about it that really pulled me in. So, yeah. But we'll take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll talk about our first impressions of the film right after this. So the first time I watched Rec was on a streaming service, and it might have been Netflix. I feel like it might have been one of their early foreign pickups, because that's one thing I've always appreciated about Netflix is the very interesting like foreign films you can get on there
yeah.
and foreign series and things like that. And it was either there, it might have been Amazon, like the earliest days of. Now, it wouldn't have been Prime. Maybe it could have been maybe Hulu, or maybe I rented it. I really wish I remembered exactly what brought it on my radar, but I remember being just smacked down by it because it was so energetic. It had such great scares. I felt like it wasn't afraid to be simple.
Mm-hmm.
Although toward the end, they throw a lot at you to kind of make it all make sense, maybe. And then the monster reveal at the end is nuts, but it's highly memorable, and I don't feel like they overdid it.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the most important elements of a found footage movie, the ending works.
Yes.
The last moment is like, whoa, and then it's over. And that's something that you should always aspire to as a found footage film. So those are my 2 cents on my first time I watched Rec, and it became immediately just kind of a synonymous with great found footage movies title for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember a year or 2 later, I think the reason I'm struggling to remember exactly how I saw the first film is because I'm trying not to be confused with when I watched the remake. The remake might have been on Netflix or Hulu. It's hard for me because they're very similar they're very like, it's not like a remake in name only by any stretch. They used a lot of the elements.
Okay.
So, and it'd be worth watching. I'd love to show it to you. I think you'd get a real kick out of it and be fascinated by like the changes they made and things like that. But, for you just watched it, a few days ago.
Yeah.
So for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your first thought as the film rolled on? Because I know that we've talked about this before, but like a lot of your a lot of how you watch a movie is based on the expectations that are set from either the way it's told to you, what it's like, or the title. If you hear like, if a movie has the title Blood Drenched Orgy, and then it opens up with like a family picnic on Easter, you're going to be like really paying attention, because like, okay, but there's going to be a blood drenched orgy because the title's called Blood Drenched Orgy. So therefore I'm like,
where are we going?
How is this coming up? But that can be similar when you put on a found footage movie and it's a found footage horror movie. And then all of a sudden the movie starts up and we see this woman who is a small town news person, a small town journalist. I don't think they ever said where it took place. Oh no, it's in Barcelona.
Yeah, I was gonna say the emergency guys all have like Barcelona.
Yeah, it was Barcelona. It's funny because to them they're calling Barcelona small, but like there are only really two cities we know like on average in Spain, and that's Madrid and Barcelona. So I would not assume Barcelona to be so like small, because they kept like discounting it as local TV and stuff. Like, they were just like, oh, it's a local thing.
Yeah.
It's a local thing. So I guess for some reason my brain was like, well, it can't be a name brand Spanish city, or Spanish town or whatever you want to call it. So, okay. So they're in Barcelona. That makes it a lot easier, because again, one of the two I really know.
Yeah. Easy to remember.
Exactly. But we see, so we notice immediately that they're in Spain, and she is following she's following firefighters. So that's what you're seeing. But as you're seeing that, this is a found footage horror movie, and you've even been told it's really good and scary. So what was it like because it feels almost like when you have the preface of like, Paranormal Activity or whatever, a title like that, or The Gallows, or although that wasn't the best found footage movie in the world, but a good title. But when you hear those titles and then it just cuts to something as mundane as like, we're doing a report on firefighting, you're like, oh man, when does it all go to hell? So was that what you found yourself doing?
No, that was exactly it, because the moment it started and they introduced I think her name is Angela, is the reporter's name.
I don't know why she's not listed as Angela. Yep.
But the moment she like was talking to the camera, well, specifically the cameraman, and she was like introducing her segment while you're sleeping, which is hilarious because that's the name of a movie that I'm sure that they have seen. There's a romantic comedy called While You're Sleeping. So nice little reference there.
Why not?
Yeah. But the moment she introduced herself and all this was starting to play out, and she explains they're going to shadow some firefighters for the night. I was like, this is perfect. This is the perfect setup, because one of the few things about found footage that's a huge obstacle to overcome is explaining away why would you keep filming.
Yeah, we've talked about that. That's the hardest thing to solve. That's the hardest question to answer, without a doubt.
But reporters, the weirder shit gets, the more likely they are to film it. And not only to film it, but to like seek it out like a dog with a bone. Mm-hmm. Like if something's going on, they're going to try to get to the bottom of it. So I was like, this is the perfect setup, because whatever is going to happen, she's going to want to be in the middle of it.
Well, the secret weapon in a found footage movie to keep making it make sense that they keep recording is have them be a journalist of some sort, even if it's not a hard-hitting journalist, just a journalist of some sort, and then have them be treated in a way that's possibly them being wronged. Like, as we get into the movie, them getting locked into an apartment building and not being told why they're not allowed to leave. They're being wrongfully imprisoned. Once you have something that's wrong, air quotes, I mean, that appears to be like we're being wronged by the government, by the police, by the FDA, whatever. I mean, like, whatever it could be. Once you have that element too, then it's like we have to film everything.
Exactly.
Because we're not going to let people get away with this, or because we, if they're trying to cover this up and it's a serious real thing, we don't want them to be able to lie or whatever. So you end up getting that other element, which is also just a great horror movie element, which is the distrust of authority.
Mm-hmm.
And think about that too. In our culture, in American culture, filming the police is a very hotly debated but overall accepted practice.
Mm-hmm.
You can film the police in public while they're doing their job, as long as you are not hindering their ability to do their job.
Yeah.
That's what I just described, basically, though. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't sit there and film a great traffic interaction, but if you notice, like, that cop is really yelling at that guy and that guy's in a wheelchair, you're like, I'm going to start filming this.
Yeah.
If this goes to court, I think I want to help the guy in the wheelchair out,
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of what you're getting with this found footage story in particular.
Exactly.
And when we get back, I'll let you talk more about your first impressions right after this.
So Rec has like the perfect setup because it's a news crew. They're always going to want to film.
Crew is strong. 2 people.
Yeah, I guess that wouldn't be a crew.
I know it's totally a news crew. I just wanted to be funny because it's only 2. Generally, a news crew is like 2 people. It's like the guy who drives the van and runs the cameras. Unless you're talking like olden days when they would have the satellite vans.
Oh, yeah.
Then you'd have a satellite op and a camera op and the news person.
Yeah, but that was back in my day.
Oh, man. I remember a few years back. Like a few years back, like 5 or 6 years back, driving downtown Dayton, and I saw one of our newscasters standing there talking, and they were by themselves.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, they're filming them. I mean, it makes sense. The tech is there. Autofocus is great. The microphones it's easy enough. But I was like, wow, they just don't even send you with a camera person anymore. And then I thought, I wonder how often they get stolen. I'm guessing they don't send them out at night alone.
That wouldn't be wise.
Well, I mean, at least, generally speaking, I would not do it. But that's just me.
Not advised. You would not advise it.
No, although most of the time when they're in a dangerous place at night, it's because the cops are already there. So at least there's that.
Oh, okay. Well, so, you win some and you lose some.
There you go. See, it all works out.
Well, and speaking of cops, part of the reason I got so amped when Rec started is because, the premise was so good. But you and I recently watched a found footage film that had an equally good premise, but they kind of like fumbled the bag halfway through. They managed to pull through, but the movie was Body Cam. Do you remember that?
Of course, yeah.
So,
it was a Shudder.
Yeah,
a
Shudder.
Shudder original.
Yeah, so if you've got Shudder, it's okay. But the whole premise of Body Cam is it's body cam footage from cops, but it just kind of lacked a bit of the edge and the grittiness that they really captured in Rec.
Which is hilarious and ironic because it's literally nothing but grit. Like the Body Cam movie is like everything's super grainy, everything's always underlit, everything's super gross, there's some really nasty gore and stuff. To me, the problem with Body Cam, and I think maybe more to what you were getting at, is that a big problem with found footage movies, and we talked about this with Cloverfield, is trying to do too much.
Yes.
And when you try to do too much, you run the risk of breaking this kind of immersion sense of I'm watching found footage. And how much we want to suspend our disbelief, that's to every person. Every individual person has a degree to which they want to suspend their disbelief. Or in the famous words of Lloyd Kaufman, who used to say, when people watch our films, we don't recommend you suspend your disbelief. We recommend you lock it in a box and torture it. So, but with Body Cam, my biggest problem was they did a lot of massive things, and they did some of them really well. But eventually it's like it's not a big spoiler. He basically it's a possession thing that turns into demonic thing, and then he like goes through a portal to like a not real world. Maybe it's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
it's just too much. And again, this is my personal taste, but like, I think I would have been a lot more scared if they'd just been stuck in one house with a friggin' demonic entity.
Yeah.
I would have been way more scared.
Yeah.
Although the scene where he's driving and the neighborhood keeps changing around him was really cool.
No, and that's why I'm saying, like, it wasn't necessarily a poorly executed film. And you're right, it is gritty in aesthetic.
Yeah.
It just it lacked the.
It wasn't down and dirty.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I get you.
It was just too polished. There was too much going on with all of it. So that's why when Rec started and I was like, oh wow, they've got a really rock solid premise, and you've told me it's a good film, so I'm like really excited to see how this plays out. And you're right, they were very they practiced restraint a lot in the film, and they kept it as enclosed as possible, which back to the plot, what happens is, they're shadowing this team of firefighters and kind of goofing off, saying like, we're not even going to get a call.
Well, it's boring. It's generally a boring job. You're making your money to sit around and wait for a fire. I mean, assuming you're a paid firefighter, that's all you're doing. You're making your money because you sit in a place and wait.
Mm-hmm.
You take naps, you eat food, you hang out. But the moment that thing, the siren goes off or the bell goes off or whatever, the alarm, you have to get into action immediately.
Yeah. Be ready.
Yeah. And they tell them it's like most nights that bell doesn't go off. And that's a good thing because that means nobody's house is burning down or whatever. And they even tell her, a lot of times we respond to calls of water leaks. I guess I don't feel like we have a water leak thing here, but I guess in Spain, that's a thing that firefighters do also, is like stop water leaks.
Okay.
But then he mentions, also pet rescue.
Mm-hmm. And he even jokes, he's like, as much of a cliche as it is,
we really do that.
We really do it.
Yeah. And then sometimes, with emergency, like I forget the other, like just helping people who are stuck or trapped, I think is what he said. So, and I'll tell you, the reason I thought it was brilliant to have them follow firefighters in particular is because when you watch horror films where everything is beginning to go awry, where the monster or whatever is first being realized, usually, somebody calls the police or calls 911. And oftentimes in those movies, like paramedics or firemen show up first or show up immediately after the police who were ineffective. And then they become the newest victims too. So it makes sense because if anything really serious happened in the city of Barcelona, the firemen are almost guaranteed to end up there right away.
Yeah.
So I think that sets it up very well. And they're most likely to be not prepared if it's not a fire incident. Although I say that, but Manu really becomes a pretty big badass
kind of
though.
He kicks some ass. He takes names.
He kicks a lot. Manu kicks a hell of a lot of ass. So, but yeah, so it's a great setup. And they keep referencing it's going to be pretty boring. It's going to be pretty low key. But then when the alarm goes off, the two guys, Manu and Alex, are the firefighters they're shadowing that night. They, immediately stop what they're doing and they just turn to them and go, we're going. And I think they said that they have to be out the door in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that's the rule, is they're suited up and out the door in 3 minutes. So you see them run over and slide down the pole. And then our Angela, our news reporter, she's like, what do we do? And it's like, so they have to run to the stairs because he can't, Pablo, the cameraman, can't slide down the thing with the camera on him. So now they're getting into the fire engine, and it's very, very clear that like, move, like you cannot be slowing us down. Like, and I that was something I appreciated. I felt like Manu and Alex were both very friendly to them and didn't mind them coming with them at all, but they were very matter of fact, like you cannot be slowing us down.
Yeah.
Like you guys can ride along and everything, but you cannot slow us down. Like we cannot be waiting around for you, period. So they get a call and it's about an old woman who needed help, needed assistance.
She's acting kind of erratically.
Yeah. Acting erratically, which sounds to me more like a job for the police, but what do I know?
Well, firefighters are often lumped in just with an emergency services.
Well,
and that seems to be the case there in Spain.
Yeah, and it's Spain, so I mean, maybe they thought she just needed to be assisted out of the building or something, or who knows. But as they get to the apartment complex, things start to heat up pretty quickly, and the first 15 minutes or so, maybe 10 or 15 minutes of the movie really lulls you into that oddly comfy sense of false security as they're hanging out at the firehouse and eating, dinner with all the guys and watching them play basketball. But now, as they arrive at this Barcelona apartment building, things are about to get nasty. And we'll talk all about that right after this.
So they arrive on the scene at the apartment complex, and Angela and what's his name? The
camera guy? Pablo.
Yeah. I was gonna say Pablo, but then I felt like, but what if I'm wrong?
So you looked worse anyways.
Yeah, that's my MO. So they arrive with the firefighters, and some police officers have also already arrived, and Angela's kind of treating it like just another day on the job, but that's when you start to get the sense from the firefighters, like, no, they're here to do their job, so you really can't get in their way. And as they are getting into the apartment building, like, all of the residents there are kind of frantic, and they're talking about, the old lady who is the reason that they called, placed the call. They're trying to figure out there's something going on with a Colombian girl that's possibly in the old lady's apartment. So the firefighters and the police decide to go up and investigate. And of course, Angela and Pablo want to go with them because this is the whole reason. Like, this is why they're filming them, is to see what the life of a firefighter is really like.
Well, especially the ones who work third shift, because that's the whole point of why it's called While You Were Sleeping, is they follow people who work third shift.
Exactly. So they get up there and the apartment's all dark, and immediately you get a sense of foreboding. And there's this old lady at the end of the hallway, and she's not looking too great.
No, she looks like death warmed over.
Which is great, because then she attacks one of the police officers and just like bites him on the throat. And as someone, as an audience member, you're like, oh great, this is where it all hits the fan now.
Yeah, I would say so.
So they managed to get her pulled off of the police officer, and the other police officer, his partner, finally remembers that he has a gun and shoots her. And so they, pull him out, and almost instantly when they're trying to take care of the critically injured police officer in the lobby of the apartment building, they notice a commotion outside. And then they start hearing a voice over the loudspeaker, don't panic. We're placing you under quarantine. This building is being closed off. You need to follow the directions of the police officer that's with you, which is not reassuring at all, because one of the police officers is almost dead.
Yeah, they're the entire reason they want to get out is because this guy clearly needs serious medical attention.
And they even try screaming, they're trying to open the doors, and the doors are locked from the outside. And they're even trying to scream to the people out there and reason with them, we need out, and nobody's listening. And it started to strike me here that, this was filmed in 2007, but for modern audiences, this movie has some different implications, because we all lived through COVID-19 and quarantine. And
well, it was a lockdown.
a lockdown. So there's this vacuum of information that's created between the outside world and what's going on the inside. And it goes both ways too, because like there's no way for them to communicate with the outside world. Like we're all in immediate danger.
No, they told them. The cop was able to radio. He can talk to them over the radio. They just don't have anything to tell him.
Yeah.
I mean, other than you're being locked up for right now while we're talking to the health department. They keep saying that the health inspector will be coming soon, which I think may be a translation thing.
Probably.
Because here we think of health inspectors as people who check out like a burger restaurant. I think it's something much more serious over there.
Yeah, because they even mention at one point that the quarantine operation has been around like since atomic bombs, and it's like the nuclear and nuclear and biological and something else like protocols. So yeah, it just really, I don't know. I don't know if when you were watching it, if you caught that also, but for someone who had never seen the film before, yeah, it just really struck me around that point. I was like, oh, there's some like similarities. I guess life imitates art sometimes in that way.
Oh yeah, well, and I mean, quarantine is not a like new to horror concept. I mean, the whole idea of like the tents and the people in the bunny suits and stuff, that's been a trope of horror films since the 60s. The idea of something coming to your town and all of a sudden like your town is shut down, nobody can leave or enter. That's a very common thing. Waiting for people to give you more information and them, not giving you a lot of information. That's a whole deal. They did it really well in the Blob remake. That was one of my favorite kind of quarantine things, because they keep, saying, why are you locking us up? And they're like, plague. And they're like, plague? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always been something that's scary. And, the moment that it really, to me, hits hard in Rec is when they decide they're going to go upstairs and see if they can get out from upstairs. And then as they're trying to get up there, the cops are already there, like shining light. And then all of a sudden the plastic sheeting drops from outside. So they're not just quarantined inside, they're being sealed inside. That I thought was one of the coolest moments that just really tells you like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This is bad. And at this point, they still don't know what really is about to start happening. I mean, they know that there was that crazy old woman, and then our poor Alex, the firefighter, who falls from the top of the stairs and smashes down in front of everybody, which is one of the strongest shocks of the movie.
Oh God, yeah.
A really great, and it comes out of nowhere. They're just talking about something.
Yeah.
And then wham, and they did it beautifully. It gets you.
So I was looking at the Wikipedia page. I'm not certain, this could be just fabrication, but I've heard that, the directors, first off, they filmed everything chronologically, which is super weird. But it does make sense, like, for what they were doing.
Yeah.
And also, they never gave any of the actors a full script. And they would oftentimes, like, not tell actors what scene they were filming before they started filming it. Just, like, stand here and do this. And so the reason that scene is so effective is they didn't tell anyone they were going to be dropping a body from the top of the building. So no one knew that was going to happen. So that's why it was so genuine.
I don't buy that.
You don't buy it?
I don't, because that would be such a safety hazard to just drop a dummy near a bunch of people who have no idea something's falling from the... I just don't buy that.
No, that's true.
I mean, they could have done something to startle people, but yeah, that's way too dangerous. I mean, it's possible, but I'm just, that sounds a little too dangerous. But they could have. I can't say they didn't for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
but falling bodies is going to be the least of their problems when we get back.
So you've made a couple movies.
Yeah.
And you've made some found footage films.
Yes, I have.
Have you ever withheld stuff from actors to try and get a better performance out of them?
Oh yeah. I mean, especially with found footage movies, because you're in the moment so often, it's a lot easier to do that.
Yeah.
To make people not know what's coming or what have you. It's honestly like one of the more fun elements of it, because when you're filming a narrative movie, I mean, even in the most efficient of circumstances, you're doing everything 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And there's an immense amount of setup. You got to get the lights, you got to get the sound, you got to get the blah, 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 blah. But when you go out and shoot a found footage movie, I mean, you just need a camera and maybe a light and actors, and you pretty much do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are more advanced ways to do it, but you can really just do it. And that allows an immense amount of flexibility for misleading the actors to, surprise them or changing something in the middle as you go. Because one element that's really smart to shooting chronologically when you can is that you can improvise entirely. I mean, you can literally change the next scene because you just shot the last scene or because you just watched the last scene. When we did Devil's Trail, we didn't shoot it in straight chronological order. But we shot the last half of the movie first and the first half of the movie last. So it wasn't perfect, but we could do a lot of interesting things. Like on the first half of the shoot, it snowed, but then there was no snow the second day. So we added a bunch of references to it being cold.
Yeah.
And hearing it might snow and then going, there's no way it's going to snow because then it snowed. And those kinds of things, help a lot. But as far as like misleading actors, I mean, to get a realistic reaction out of them, I mean, it's mostly things like, coming out of nowhere and startling them or telling them like this thing is going to happen, but really it's not. It's going to come from the other place. When I scared Iabu Windermere in Alone in the Ghost House, I told her to go into the bathroom in the house and do Bloody Mary in character. She was doing Bloody Mary. And then after that, she had to go into like the scary room or whatever. And I was playing the cameraman. I literally, like the moment she went into the bathroom to Bloody Mary, I snuck up into the room and hid in the dark and filmed me jumping out and scaring the crap out of her. And she had no idea. I mean, I did not tell her I was going to do that. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of room to kind of play around. Needling actors, I've talked about that before, but I mean, that's another one that's really useful, especially if you're directing and you're a part of the cast, because often that is the case on lower budget found footage movies. The director ends up being somebody, usually the person holding the camera.
It just makes sense.
It does just make sense. So, because I did one found footage movie where I never held the camera, and I probably would never do it again. It just too many problems came up.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah,
but yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities.
So, and I mean, you kind of already answered this when we were discussing the possibility of if they dropped a body from 4 stories without warning anyone. Do you what for you is the ethical line to misleading actors or withholding information just to get a performance out of them?
I mean, anything that could cause somebody to get hurt is the line, but it's not always so simple. I mean, you could misjudge and jump out and somebody is like going upstairs and they trip and fall and hurt themselves. I mean, there's a lot of risk.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be really mindful of just trying to mitigate that risk as much as you can, so that on the brief moments where you make a human judgment error that's really stupid, hopefully it's nothing more than somebody trips on one stair and not falls and gets hurt or something like that. Like I wouldn't want, to throw something at people.
Yeah.
Unless it was very, very light. And even then, I don't know. The more I think about the concept of them doing the body drop, I mean, if the dummy they used weighed like nothing, then it probably wouldn't be a big deal. I mean, it just, I don't remember how it looked when it was falling in the film. Maybe it was one of those dummies that's basically a big pillow. Then that wouldn't really be dangerous. But if it had any weight to it, I just wouldn't want to do it, because what if somebody decided to step over there?
Yeah, right at the wrong moment or something. Yeah.
Or, I mean, another way to do it, well, still would be dangerous, would be if they knew that the body was going to drop, but you told them, like, we're doing one, but we're not going to do the drop on this one, and then you do it. But that still runs the risk of them stepping to where they shouldn't, but they also shouldn't step over where the body's going to fall, since they're rehearsing a scene where the body will fall.
Yeah.
So it gets complicated. I'm sure that they were thinking about the safety of the crew. I mean, these were not amateurs. These were not people doing their first movie, fresh out of college. These were guys who'd made a bunch of several movies, and their producer had made dozen or more movies. He was one of the main guys at Filmax. So he made tons and tons of films. So I'm sure they were thinking about people's safety.
Yeah. But they're not thinking about people's safety in the movie, because things just keep escalating.
It depends on which people. That's really the difference. Which people's safety are they thinking of?
Because we're now down a firefighter and a police officer.
Yes.
And the health inspector still hasn't arrived.
Yeah, so we're starting to figure out that there's some zombie-ness afoot.
Yeah.
That's what's becoming very apparent. And everybody's trying to figure it out for themselves. And meanwhile, our intrepid reporter is interviewing people about their lives and stuff. And we're getting a lot of really cool, like, little snippets that could be really helpful.
Yeah.
Including the little girl who has tonsillitis.
Mm-hmm. Yennefer.
And they're all mad about, she's mad, her mom's mad because they want to take her to get her, or they want her father to be able to come back with her medicine for her tonsillitis. I think it was tonsillitis.
Yeah, tonsillitis. And they won't let him in.
Yeah.
Because they're locked down.
And she's got a fever and blah, blah, blah. And she mentions her dog was sick, and and all of that kind of plays in later, which is very good writing and very good pacing. But when the health inspector arrives is when everything goes completely to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that right after this. The health inspector arrives in his bunny suit, and they literally have to cut through the film to let him in. The plastic sheet outside the building. They let him in, and he's clearly surrounded by armed guards, by military all around him. So he comes in and basically just starts asking people questions about how they're feeling. And we find out pretty quickly that it looks like there's a blood test, like a basic blood test they can do. And that as things start escalating and getting worse, we find out very quickly that it's spread through saliva.
Mm-hmm.
So bites are real bad.
Yeah.
And I love this element. And from what they understand, how quickly it takes effect is based on blood type.
Yeah, which is such an interesting little detail.
Well, and there are ailments, not many, but there are ailments that affect different blood types in different ways. Or it may be more that they all affect it in different ways, but the dynamic, like how much different they can be, is very small.
Yeah.
But I remember briefly during the COVID era, they were suggesting that blood types might be less. I don't know if anything ever came up of that, but, but the reason that's a great storytelling element is because it means you just have no clue who's going to get bit and turn in 2 seconds and who's going to get bit and it's going to take like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's brilliant because that keeps everybody on edge. Of course, this guy, he gets bit almost immediately.
Yeah.
But first they do all kinds of stuff. They're trying to like study one of the infected people that's still around. And Pablo is just getting it done, because Pablo's going out there and filming as much as he can. I feel so bad for Angela because she's just like, what are you seeing? And he's like, shh, shut up. Because he can't tell her right now because he's capturing it.
Yeah.
But this is some of the most tense stuff because we're literally watching this health inspector try to get everything under control and get more information. And we're watching him fail to do so. And we're watching it all come crashing down and getting out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
We also hear that it all started with a dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
That had this ailment that was like rabies, only more aggressive. And that it took like 3 times the tranquilizer it should have to stop him. And then they had to put the dog to sleep. So now everybody's like, the little girl must have the illness.
Yeah, whatever it is.
And everybody's like looking at the mother. And this is one of the best, most effective moments of the film. The little girl just out of nowhere just bites her mom's face.
Yeah.
And then jumps down and runs off.
Just a little demon child.
But it is so sudden and it really pulls you back into how friggin' crazy. And now the mom is like, she's like raging in like a minute or two. Like she's completely nuts and they've handcuffed her. And this has become the new thing. We handcuff people who've been bitten to something and hope for the best or lock them in a room.
Yeah.
So
Because they can't get to us and then maybe we can find a cure.
Yeah. And well, or just, we just don't want to have, and I mean, what are they going to do? Like, it's not like anybody's got guns or anything. Like they barely have enough bludgeoning tools.
Yeah.
To stop these people.
And it took the cop had to empty the whole clip to kill the old lady.
Well, and then she wasn't even dead.
Yeah. When they go back up there, then she
later on,
comes
fight.
back.
She's totally still like hanging out, doing stuff. So no, it's not going great. Luckily for everybody, Manu is very good at beating the hell out of people because he ends up bashing a lot of the zombies for quite a while. But now, the people are getting bit left and right, and the health inspector gets bit and he locks himself behind a door and just tells them, I think he just tells them like, get out of here. Like, good luck. Like, I hope you can get out of here or something. He just basically, good luck. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I can't do anything, So now we really do understand why they're locking this place down, because this is possibly one of the most infectious ailments known to mankind.
Yeah. And what I like is the implication, because a lot of zombie movies, there's kind of it's a small comfort, but there's a little bit of a comfort in at least it doesn't like transmit to animals or transmit across like zoologically, so across animals to humans. But this one, it's established that it does, which makes the threat like even worse because it's like now there's like no refuge.
Yeah. Well, and you might know this because you deal with animals a lot. Do you know how long it takes for rabies to show?
Isn't it 48 hours?
1 to 3 months.
Jeez. That's cruel. That's cruel.
Sure, but my point is, because the incubation period's 39 days. But my point is, when people describe zombie viruses or whatever, they often describe them as like rabies. But imagine if rabies set in a minute or two. So I feel like if you sat down with a medical doctor and said, this is like rabies, but it's faster, and the medical expert was like, how much faster? And they were like, less than an hour. They would be like, we need to bomb that part of the country. Like, that cannot get out.
Yeah.
Like, it's bad enough when there's a rabies outbreak anywhere, but that's insanity.
Yeah.
And it affects people more aggressively than rabies, because rabies doesn't usually make people hyper aggressive. It makes us kind of crazy. But smaller animals, it seems to make them very aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in Return of the Living Dead. That's one of the things that Clu Gallagher's character says on the phone. He's like, they've gone stark raving mad and they'll kill you and eat you if you try to get in here. It's like rabies, only faster. Like I didn't realize just how much faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now we've pretty much understood, like, you're on your own. And one of the characters mentions that there may be one more way out.
Yeah.
Of the building, because the police have said we've sealed every exit.
Yeah. And they've even tried.
Yeah.
Like they've gone like down in like the sub basement and like tried to get out that way, and they've tried different windows, and like there's no getting out. But
it turns out there may be it was some kind of a vent, not not a vent, but like a drainage thing, if I'm remembering correctly. I can't remember exactly what we said, but basically it was like down in the like in the sub basement, there was like a thing you can go through and it would lead to the sewer.
Yeah.
Basically. And that it's locked because it isn't a way to get in. So they're like, well, we have to get the keys, and they're in the superintendent's apartment. So now the new mission is to try like hell to find those keys. And now the movie enters its like, holy shit, this is badass and insane and scary phase.
Yeah, it kind of, by the third act, it feels less like a found footage movie and way more like a rail shooter.
That's a very fair way to put it, except without any shooting.
Yeah, but
zero shooting.
So a rail basher?
I'll call it that. I'll allow it. And we'll dive into the extra gory details right after this. So they make it to they keep calling it landlord, but I think it's a translation issue.
Yeah.
I think they mean like a superintendent, because he never mentions owning the building. In fact, he says he's an intern who is the landlord while he's in medical school.
Yeah.
So they get into his apartment and they find the keys, this big key ring, and the entire way up to this apartment was just a battle from hell. Like you said, like a rail fighter kind of deal. And this is where we like to mention Manu just starts whooping ass.
Left and right.
The firefighter that's still alive, he is just like snapping necks and stuff. Like he's really laying in. And at one point, Pablo even gets in there and like saves Manu. And then they both just like kill this zombie thing. Another really great moment was Angela gets grabbed at one point and she's positive she's bitten, and Manu has to tell her over and over, like, you haven't been bitten. I don't see a bite. You're okay. You're okay. Which I've got to be honest, that would happen to me in a zombie apocalypse. It's like hearing a bunch of bats and then thinking they're in your hair. You know, it just, if I scuffled or even bumped into a zombie, like, it bit me, it bit me, it bit me. You know, like it would be the first thought, you know, it'd just be, oh God, it bit me, it bit me. So, they are just, you know, bashing their way up, but after they get out of the superintendent's apartment with the keys, pretty much immediately we lose Manu to the zombie threat. There's just too many of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that Pablo and Angela can do is go into the penthouse.
Yeah.
Which they've been told no one lives there. I think, was that the guy they said he spends all his time in Madrid?
Yeah.
Yeah, they said like, oh, the guy who owns the penthouse, he's a guy from Madrid. He's like never here.
Yeah.
And they go in there and sure enough, it's empty, but it's really decrepit and weird.
It is. Yeah. It is not necessarily what one would anticipate when you hear penthouse.
Because it's a luxury apartment.
Well, it may have at one time been a luxury apartment, sure, but now there's like papers tacked up all over the wall.
Yeah. Well,
and
for the record, I mean, a penthouse it does have a very specific definition. A penthouse is a luxury or apartment or residence located on the top floor of a building.
Okay.
So it's the entire top floor. That's what makes it a penthouse.
Yeah, you and I were discussing that.
Yeah, I thought it was just that it was a floor of its own, but I guess it has to be the top floor, which makes sense because they're trying to get out and they've realized there's no way we're getting down to where supposedly that exit is, because it's nothing but zombies down that way.
Yeah, so if we can't go down, let's go up.
That's a move. So, but as they're looking through this place, and you mentioned there were like newspaper clippings all over, and as they're kind of scanning through everything, they start to notice that the newspaper clippings are all about the same little girl.
Yeah.
Who was reported by the Vatican to be potentially possessed.
Mm-hmm.
by some kind of demon. And her name is Tristiana Medeiros, and she's a Portuguese girl who is very, very ill and also believed to be a demonically possessed. And as we go through his space and look at the things, there's like chemistry stuff everywhere and crosses and photographs and these newspaper clippings. Very, very Catholic, which you'd expect from a Spanish movie. But it becomes very clear that this person is obsessed for whatever reason with this little girl being demonically possessed and is trying to cure it in some way or something. Then they find an audio tape recorder and they listen to it. They rewind it and listen to different parts of it. And basically it's revealed that this ailment or this demonic possession has basically mutated into an infectious disease. So the concept is that, from my understanding, the way I've understood it from watching it a few times, is that it is not that it is a disease mistaken for demonic possession. It is that is demonic possession that has turned itself into a disease.
That's
that
what
was the
I
understanding.
Yeah,
I
that's
got.
what I got too. And I thought that was such a weird and interesting twist because I've never heard anything quite like that before.
I mean, it makes perfect sense when you're talking, Revelation, the end of the absolute end of the world.
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse. That's when it starts to make sense. Like, oh yeah, I guess that would cause an apocalypse, wouldn't it?
Yeah, kind of a little bit. Mm.
So, but as they're kind of looking around and trying to figure out, like, what is this guy on about? Like, he seems crazy, but then they're hearing this stuff and it gets a little cheesy with them kind of putting things together. But she's a journalist and they're trying to figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give it to him. But then in the tape, he says something that catches their attention pretty quickly, which is that Tristiana is supposedly in the penthouse and that she won't die. And that as that tape is being recorded, he is attempting to kill her to stop the infection and free her. And that there's only one way to do it. And it requires a whole ritual.
Yeah.
And that hopefully the ritual will be successful. They'll be able to do it. It'll work. And Tristiana will be dead and the illness will be dead with her. And as becomes obvious when they hear something in the apartment, it does not appear that the ritual worked. Also, now the light on the camera is busted, and this is one of the earlier examples of just out and out infrared camera foo, like night vision foo.
I loved that.
Because I feel like before Paranormal Activity really put it into horror movies a lot, or made it happen to where that was happening a lot, before that, it was really just from ghost hunter shows.
Yeah.
It was a lot of ghost hunter shows did that. So now everything is green and looks all night vision-y. And
Angela can't see anything because she's not looking through the camera.
No. And now Tristiana is ready to make her appearance right after this. So as they're trying to figure out how to get out, there's a hatch in the ceiling, and Pablo bravely decides to check it out, and that's what breaks the light the final time, because the light's busted a couple of times, and it's the only light they have. He falls out of there after seeing a brief glimpse of Tristiana, who is how would you describe, like a slender monster thing?
Slender, wraith-like.
Yeah, wraith-like.
Hag-like.
Yeah. I would say that's fair.
It reminded me very much of the creature in Barbarian.
Oh, okay.
Not quite as giant, but kind of that, bony and kind of, gaunt look, I guess.
Well, yeah. It was impossibly long arms and legs, and it's just kind of looking around, and it's extra scary because you realize this is supposed to be like a little girl who's like 9 years old.
Yeah.
And this is what it's kind of
mutated her into.
Yeah. So now they're stuck in there, but the only benefit they have is that it's pitch black. And therefore, if they can be quiet, maybe they can get away from Tatiana. And this sequence is extra creepy because when they were filming it, the actors couldn't see. It was literally done in the dark with a night vision. So you can see the actors it's one thing I've noticed when you look at people with night vision is you don't realize how wide you open your eyes to try to see in the dark.
Yeah.
So when we see Angela, her eyes are just like all the way open trying to see what's going on. And Pablo's trying to like get a hold of her, but also tell her to like be quiet because this thing is here. And overall, I think it holds up pretty well. I mean, it's definitely a CGI monster.
Yeah.
But they don't show it so often that it loses its oomph.
Yeah.
But also they keep the threat alive, I think.
Oh no, they do a great job keeping the threat alive because, it's kind of the old saying with horror, like less is more. So it's doing it a kindness that they keep the monster like mostly in the shadows and you only see brief glimpses of it. And the way they have Pablo, because Angela's been so competent throughout the whole movie. She's not necessarily like gung-ho throwing herself into danger, but she is definitely like tenacious and she's tough. And this is like kind of the moment where she's really breaking. And Pablo does a really good job of like comforting her and trying to get her to stay quiet and being like, no, we can get through this. But the whole time there's this monster in the shadow, like looming behind them, just like trying to hunt them down. It's really well executed.
Yeah, it's super tense. It takes its time, but not too much, because this movie really has just a fever pace as everything just kind of snowballs. And this is where I think the movie like wins me over, is the ending's not too silly, but after they make too much sound, Pablo gets killed. We don't see anything really, but we know he's killed. The camera falls to the ground, and then eventually it gets quiet and we see Angela crawling toward the camera.
Yeah.
Like we see her on the ground, and I can only assume she's crawling toward it because she can see the light coming off of the
recording light or something,
or the light coming out of, because it's pitch black. So the camera can see. So that means that the viewfinder would have to be bright.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I would assume that it's shining light off. It might even be like reflecting off the wall because there's no eye against the eyepiece to catch the light.
Yeah.
And as she's crawling toward it, we hear, a monstery sound, and she gets dragged away from the camera off into the darkness. What a solid way to end it. What an image to grab you. Very creepy. I think it works, phenomenally well.
Oh, it really does. It really does.
And I was very happy with it. I with that ending. I thought it scared the hell out of me and kept me creeped out.
Oh, absolutely. In horror movies, there's oftentimes like a point of no return where you're like, okay, this won't have a happy ending. Like no matter what happens, like I don't think they're going to be able to all pull through. And this one, had that kind of that feeling of, okay, I know that this isn't going to have a happy ending because like most of the people that we cared about in the beginning are dead already. But maybe they can pull through, because again, Pablo and Angela seem like so pretty competent, and having it end the way it did, Pablo dying and then Angela trying to get the camera and her getting pulled into the darkness, it didn't feel dour to me because there was so much mystery about what was actually going on. It felt like the perfect ending because there was enough for me as an audience member to still have questions without feeling like I got cheated on it,
Okay. That's just kind of the method with found footage movies is there should be questions left unanswered because the camera doesn't see everything. It's not possible for it to. And I think that's what really cemented it was that drag away ending is really perfect. And it's kind of like when you see her crawling with that massive black space behind her, that's your biggest fear is you're like, oh man, you're just going to get dragged away into the void. And then she does.
Yeah.
And it's a very sticking image. And we're going to take a quick break and we'll give our final, thoughts on Rec and talk about what we're going to be covering next time right after this. So I do want to say one of my favorite elements of Rec that isn't about the movie. I mean, it is, but it isn't, is big respect to Pablo, because Pablo was played by Pablo Rosso, who was the actual director of photography of the film.
Oh, damn.
I don't know. I should have double checked. I don't know if he's a director of photography. Otherwise, I believe he is. I believe they literally had a director of photography play. Yep. He's a cinematographer in Spain.
Awesome.
So they literally had a cinematographer play the cameraman in the film, which we never see his face. We only see like his legs a little bit in that one scene.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. He's shot a lot of films, over 50 films.
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah. He just shot the Return to Silent Hill, which a lot of people didn't like. That must have been shot in Spain. Anyway.
Very interesting.
But yeah. Quite a career, still working. So, but I just thought that was a cool little element.
No, that it.
Oh, right
sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know what that was. No, it's really cool that they got, an actual cinematographer to, to play that character. Something that we had discussed, and I found it interesting. Oftentimes in found footage, it's just easier to have the characters be named whatever the actors are named.
Yeah.
So I did realize as I was reading the, all of the lists of actors, I was like, oh, Pablo, and he plays Pablo. That's nice and convenient.
Well, he was also the director of photography on all of the Rec sequels.
Really?
And I'm pretty sure his character doesn't return. So, I mean, it's just, he became a part of the team.
Oh, good for him. Yeah, because I was trying not to spoil anything for myself, but I did see that Angela appears to come back in the sequels.
Yeah, that's a massive spoiler because those are like super surprises.
Oh, well, then I shouldn't have even said that.
Well, I meant for you. It ruined your chances. I mean, we're just here to ruin everything.
Ruin everything for everyone.
That's the plan. Yeah. So I've pretty much went into it. So what are your final thoughts on Rec?
I loved it. I think that of the found footage films that we've reviewed so far, it's definitely way up there on my list now. And, if someone were to say to me, like, I've never seen a found footage movie, which one would you recommend? I would probably recommend, either Blair Witch Project or Rec, would be at the top of my list. Because I love Cloverfield, but I just feel like those two really give you the heart and soul of what found footage can be.
Okay.
So
I could see that.
Yeah. And I think that of all of the found footage films that we've discussed so far, I think Rec does have the strongest premise of why they would keep filming.
Yeah, I could see that. You really need to see the sequels because they're all really good and they definitely pull you in very intensely.
Well, that's a good excuse for us to watch them then.
Yeah, maybe. I need to rewatch The Bay too. That might be a good one for this show. I feel like The Bay was really scary.
Ooh.
That was we watched it together. The Infectious.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
We watched it years ago. So, yeah. There's a lot of interesting found footage territory to scrape.
Yeah. We've hardly scratched the surface.
Well, we've been on quite the found footage sojourn. So it looks like you were telling me off mic you want to wrap that up. So,
well,
yeah, you were.
Well, I was just thinking like, well, we don't want to blow our whole found footage load all at once.
But
right?
You just said there's like a limitless amount of them. So you're contradicting yourself.
I didn't say limitless. I just said there's a lot.
You said we hadn't scraped the surface. That suggests a lot.
Ah, man.
Yeah, you got to watch what you say.
Yeah.
People might actually listen.
Yeah, well, that's their fault. They really shouldn't do that.
So, well, we do want to mention you can email us at weeklyspooky@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the films we've talked about or recommendations for films we should talk about. We're always happy to hear from you guys. So do you want to tell people what the next show we're going to be talking about? Because this one is one that I felt bad I'd almost forgotten as one we should cover. And I think it's a pretty solid one.
So next week, we're going to be doing The Houses October Built.
From 2014. You want to say the year,
From
too.
2014.
So people can know what we're talking about. But yeah, The Houses October Built. It's a film I really enjoyed, and it definitely got to me. It's a found footage film that takes place in haunted house. It's a found footage film about people making a documentary about haunts.
Okay.
About haunted houses for Halloween time and stuff. Places where you charge. What was that face? I don't understand.
I get about. The title now. The Houses October Built.
I already told you it was about haunted houses.
You did, but I didn't draw the connection. I was just like, oh, that's a pretty string of words. And then I realized like, oh, Houses October Built because like Halloween's in October.
Oh, so is that a cutesy way of saying you weren't listening? You're like, that's a pretty string of words.
I guess listening and processing. I was listening. It's just the gears didn't start turning until...
I think that means not listening.
Oh, okay.
But, and then we're going to follow that up with Hell House LLC, which now do you figure that one out too?
I think so.
Hell House LLC?
Limited Liability Corporation. Oh, that's what that means.
Because it's a business.
Oh, okay.
No, but those are two films that came out a year apart from each other. They're very similar concepts. Both spawned some sequels, although Houses October Built had one sequel, and Hell House, I think, just had its fifth film come out. They're still cranking them out, and I'm not a huge fan of the later ones. But I really do love the first one of both of those quite a bit. It is available to watch free on Zumo Play, Pluto TV, and Plex, or you can watch it with your AMC Plus subscription or rent it on any of the many places you rent movies. So that is your homework to watch The Houses October Built so you can have a little Halloween in the middle of the summer.
Yeah. Who doesn't want a little Halloween in June?
I mean, I'm living proof of it, I guess.
June-a-ween?
Well, you ruined it. But with that said, is there anything else you want to say about Rec or about your current education into found footage?
I'm just really enjoying my found footage education getting fleshed out. I really enjoy it as a horror medium and as a storytelling medium in general. So I'm really looking forward to the next two.
All right. Well, with that all being said, I guess all that's left to do is head out of here. But thank you guys so much for listening to Cutting Deep into Horror here at Weekly Spooky. We do appreciate you spending this time with us. If you love what we're doing here and you want to show us some support in a very direct way, there are a few ways you can do it. One way that costs you nothing is to leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That really does help us out and let other people know they're in the right place for some Halloween all year long. You can also head to weeklyspooky.com/join, where for as little as $1 a month, you get 2 bonus shows every month and over 5 years of exclusive creepypasta readings and audiobooks and so much more. That's at weeklyspooky.com/join. Really do appreciate the support there. And we'll be back very soon to talk about The Houses October Built and the film of that name as well. So until then, we'll see you next time. Stay spooky.